Right, okay, that draw is just starting right now. Dave, has it already started? Dave Reed's in the studio with us?
It has, and we have our first blockbuster tie because Manchester City have been drawn against Real Madrid. These two sides have a significant history. I think Manchester City went to the Bernabeu and won earlier in the campaign, so they're going to meet again.
Who could they have had, Man City?
They could have had Bodo Glimt.
And instead they've got Real Madrid?
Instead they've got Real Madrid, yeah.
Charlie, if you're a Man City player, what are you thinking now when you could have had Bodo Glimt?
Yeah, typical, but it's the luck of the draw. But that's a tough place to go also. Bodo Glimt, let's not look at any different way. That's a tough place to go. But this is what the Champions League format is about now, and that's why it's changed. And this is now come to the exciting times.
You're just drawing more out now, Dave. Where are we up to now?
So it's now going to be Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
Oh, which means
PSG obviously lost to Bayern Munich and Sporting in the league phase. Drew with Sporting and drew with Newcastle in the league phase, but managed to get through thanks to that playoff victory over Monaco. Bit of a classic, that one.
So it means
PSG Chelsea in the last 6.
So it means we know that Newcastle will have Barcelona.
Correct.
On the Chelsea point of view, Charlie, would you have preferred Newcastle or?
I'm going to say yes.
PSG.
Yeah, I'd say more Newcastle, but I think Newcastle would have preferred to play against Chelsea instead of playing against Barcelona.
So far, it looks like those 3 English clubs we've talked about are all unhappy with the draw so far.
Yeah.
Man City could have had Bodo Glimt, but they've got Real Madrid.
But I think the excitement of it, Tommy, you'd want Newcastle and Chelsea to play against each other for that all-English tie, the excitement of it. We know what it brings. So, but look, they're going to be tough ties, aren't they? And Barcelona have played Newcastle already.
Right, I've just seen Liverpool's name come out. Dave, who have they got?
Yeah, so Liverpool are now going to be playing Galatasaray. So Galatasaray, who actually beat Liverpool and Bodo Glimt in the league phase and beat Juventus in a fantastic playoff tie in the week. So those sides meet again. Liverpool will have that second leg at home.
Am I right in thinking that they would have had Atletico Madrid, though?
Correct, and now Spurs will play Atletico Madrid.
Right, okay.
Just on that, does that affect Conor Gallagher? Is that as a permanent sign? Permanent, so he's fine. And then we've got you could have an English tie in the quarters with Liverpool and Chelsea.
So Atletico Madrid or Galatasaray? Liverpool have got Galatasaray. Tottenham have got Atletico Madrid. Who's the winner there? As in, who will be happy with the draw?
Well, going off the competitions that we've seen, both the performances in the Champions League, both clubs will be pleased. They'd want to go to Galatasaray and play there, but that's a tough place, obviously, to go. Same with going against Atletico Madrid, but both clubs, I think, wouldn't have been disappointed in either clubs they got given.
Right, OK, so Galatasaray against Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City in there as well. And Arsenal have just come out, Dave? Yeah,
well, they're just about to be drawn now. So Arsenal are going to be playing Bayer Leverkusen in the last 16. They lost 7-2 at home to PSG, but did beat Manchester City in the league phase. So Arsenal will play Leverkusen, and that means the second leg will be at the Emirates. So Arsenal will play Leverkusen in the last 16. And it also means now that Arsenal will play either Bodo Glimt or Sporting Lisbon in the quarterfinals. For a place in the semi-final, they will need to overcome Leverkusen or Bodo Glimt and Sporting Lisbon.
But also on that, we could talk about, but also this side of the draw, there's Tottenham, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Newcastle. Arsenal, I know they are the favourites, but they are the standout club this side of the draw. So we talk about going to the semi-final. They have got a massive chance of getting to Budapest.
Yeah.
They really have.
Do you want to recap the last 16, Dave?
Yeah, so let's just recap it top to bottom then. So Paris Saint-Germain will face Chelsea. Galatasaray will face Liverpool. Real Madrid take on Manchester City again. It's Atalanta against Bayern Munich. Newcastle face Barcelona, as they did in the league phase. Atletico Madrid take on Igor Tudor's Tottenham Hotspur. Bodo Glimt face Sporting Lisbon. And Leverkusen face Arsenal. And if you're looking further ahead
let's go through it.
So there's a possibility that Newcastle and Spurs then might face each other in a quarter-final of the Champions League. If Spurs overcome Atletico, Newcastle beat Barcelona over 2 legs. We mentioned Arsenal's route to the semi-final before. And then Manchester City, if they manage to overcome Real Madrid over 2 legs, will face either Bayern Munich or Atalanta. And Chelsea, if they get through against Paris Saint-Germain, could well face Liverpool in a potential Champions League quarter-final.
that completes the draw for the Champions League last 16. There you can see the route to the final there. Now that last 16 draw has been done. So you've got Chelsea against Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool got Galatasaray, Manchester City, Real Madrid, the first tie that came out there as well. Newcastle have got Barcelona. It could have been Chelsea, but instead it's Barcelona. Tottenham against Atletico Madrid, and for Arsenal it is Bayer Leverkusen. So would you say there, with that route to the final that Dave just said, Charlie, would you say that Arsenal are probably the real winners out of this? On paper, I know.
On paper, yeah, you have to look at it and go, they've got the best side of the draw and that kind of segment of it. That just builds more pressure on and expectations. And what is the bigger thing for Arsenal? I know we're talking Champions League here, but what is the biggest thing, the ultimate thing? For me, it's winning the Premier League. But now this adds even more spice to it, because your expectation is now on Arsenal is to get to the very last stage of the Champions League.
Just looking at the draw here, is there anyone who you'll feel particularly hard done by? I know it's a draw, but I can't help but think that Manchester City, having had the choice of, not the choice, but either Real Madrid or Bodo Glimt, and they've ended up with Real Madrid. That's the biggest discrepancy, isn't there?
It's the bottom four clubs on that kind of second segment. So Real Madrid, Man City, Atalanta, Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Like that's the tough bit. You wouldn't really want to be a part of that. So you are going to say Man City have got one of the toughest bits, and Real Madrid are going to be saying the same, and so are Bayern Munich. So for me, that is the toughest part of it.
And Dave, am I right in thinking that Arsenal and Man City are now on opposite side of the draw?
Yes, that's correct. So the earliest they can meet is the final in Budapest. So the top two in the Premier League going for it in the Carabao Cup final, the Premier League. But there's a long way to go before we get to, I think it's the 30th of May in Budapest for that final.
So in terms of an all-English quarter-final, there is actually a chance of two, isn't there?
Yes.
Like you said there, Newcastle could face Tottenham and Chelsea could face Liverpool.
Correct, yeah.
That's right, okay. Yeah, that Real Madrid-Manchester City game really stands out there. So Charlie, having seen that now, who did you say you said an English club would win the Champions League. Yeah. Did you say which at the start of the show?
No, I said I expected the expectation of an English club going to win the Champions League, but now for me, looking at how they are spread out, and the standout route is Arsenal to get into that fight. It feels like we're going to have one in the final.
The other thing to say is, Liverpool have obviously not had the best of seasons in the Premier League. And I know they didn't do very well against Galatasaray in the league phase, but if they can get through that tie, anything can happen against Chelsea. Paris Saint-Germain haven't hit their stride as they did last year. There's a chance that this season for Liverpool could be a special one.
It's going to be it is going to be interesting. That is the thing with Liverpool. This could be special. You don't know what Paris Saint-Germain are not anywhere near what they was last year. The heights of what they was phenomenal. They generally aren't. Play Liverpool. Liverpool could be one of them teams that have a late run at it that nobody expects. They're tough in the Champions League stage. In Europe, they are brilliant. But Arsenal, for me, is if they go on and win it, it's one thing. But that's the standout route. They're the winners of that draw.
Is it a failure for Arsenal if they don't make the final?
Looking at that draw, on that side of it, I would say yes. I would say, and I'll put more pressure on Arsenal. Just if you've got that squad and that team and the direction of the football club you're wanting to go in, I'm saying yes, it is.
Let's get straight to the draw, because Giorgio Marchetti is already unleashing the balls, and the first name out of the hat is Manchester City.
City is going to join Real Madrid on the silver side for what has become now a European Classico. 8 previous ties, including in the league phase of this season, and that's the first great challenge that we're going to have in this round of 16. Now you draw, please, the second team of this pair, which is
Sporting Club.
Which is, of course, Sporting Club de Portugal, and Sporting Club de Portugal will visit the great outsider.
So Manchester City play against Real Madrid, Gabby, and Bodo Glimt gets Sporting. Is that a good draw for Manchester City?
Out of all the teams they could have faced in the Champions League, we talk about the English teams and we talk about PSG and Bayern Munich. I'll say definitely Real Madrid, the way they defended against Benfica.
Okay, next one's coming out of the hat, and who is it?
And the first team is joining, of course, the silver part.
Chelsea.
So Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
Chelsea versus
in
PSG.
In this side of the bracket.
Chelsea
They
28
played,
goals in 11
4
matches
times.
under Liam Rossini, not lost to anyone that isn't Arsenal. PSG limp past Monaco. They'll be encouraged if they face them. Look easy to score against. Next one's coming out.
And this time it is
FC Barcelona.
FC Barcelona against Newcastle United. So that is confirmed that Barcelona will play Newcastle United. The first leg will be at St James's Park. They're having an odd campaign, Barcelona, where they lurch between dominant and disappointing matches. Newcastle, very good at home. Had a good match earlier in the season, didn't they? Which Barcelona won. So we move to the second part of the draw now, and Arsenal and Liverpool about to find out their fates as well.
Liverpool.
so the first one is Liverpool, and this means that Liverpool will have to face the opposition of Galatasaray. They met already this season, and for Liverpool it was tough in Istanbul. Now let's see what will happen in this tie in the round of 16. The second.
So the winner of Galatasaray against Liverpool faces the winner of PSG versus Chelsea in the quarter-finals.
Hotspur against Atletico Madrid. These two teams faced themselves only once in history, and that was the Cup Winners' Cup of.
And the winners of Atletico Madrid against Tottenham Hotspur
That's tough.
is Newcastle or Barcelona in the quarterfinals of the competition. Atleti, who have been fantastic at times and not so good at times under Diego Simeone.
The two best teams of the league phase, which were Arsenal and Bayern.
Bayern München.
So Bayern goes to the silver, and in the silver they will face Atalanta. They never faced in the past. So for Bayern, which are in their 18th successive season in knockout, it will be a clash with Atalanta. Only one to go.
Also means that the winners of that tie play the winners of Real Madrid against Manchester City in the quarterfinals.
Arsenal.
And Arsenal finally, same ties as last year. Sorry, as we had in 2001 and 2002 for Arsenal playing against Leverkusen. So this concludes our draw.
Well,
and,
that's
now
a fantastic draw for Arsenal, really, to be in that part of the draw as well. Because not only have they got Leverkusen, they then play the winners of Sporting and Bodo Glimt. So they've got a great run. In fact, it could be that you could get a North London derby in the semi-finals of the competition if everything goes to plan. But their potential opponents in the quarterfinals, should they beat Leverkusen, Arsenal, would end up being Bodo Glimt or Sporting. And then they would face the winners of the quarterfinal, which is between Newcastle, Barcelona or Atletico Madrid against Tottenham. So the draw in full then, Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea, Galatasaray against Liverpool. The winners of those two ties will play each other in the quarterfinals of the competition. Real Madrid will take on Manchester City, and Atalanta will play Bayern Munich. The winners of those two ties will meet in the quarterfinals. So we could have a Manchester City Bayern Munich reunification with Vincent Kompany in the quarterfinals of the competition, or we could have Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, some of the most prolific champions in Champions League history, meeting at the quarterfinals stage. Newcastle and Barcelona is the next fixture that came out of the hat. They will face the winners of Atletico Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur in the quarterfinals, and then Bodo Glimt, Sporting and Leverkusen Arsenal completes the draw. Well, certainly Arsenal have come out more favourably than anybody else.
Incredible.
That's incredible. I mean, they've got to at least get to the semi-finals for me, if not the final itself. It couldn't have gone any better from a Gunners perspective. But I'm looking at two of the other English teams. Manchester City basically are going to need to beat Real Madrid and Bayern Munich to get to their own semi-final. And Newcastle, if they come through against Barcelona, will probably have to put out Atletico Madrid as well. So as good as it is for Arsenal, I wouldn't want to be Manchester City or Newcastle.
Well, I think it's absolutely superb, isn't it, that we've avoided any all-English ties in the last 16, but we've got a few that could come up in the quarterfinals, because if Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain and Galatasaray are beaten by Liverpool, we have a quarterfinal between Liverpool and Chelsea, and that has history from the 2000s.
And just the way Arsenal got, sorry to go back to Arsenal, but to get Leverkusen, who haven't had the best of seasons, and then if you beat them, you get Sporting or Bodo Glimt. Then, if you beat them, you get Barca or Newcastle, Spurs, Atletico. No offence, but any of those 4 teams, I think Arsenal beat over 2 legs. So you'd put money on Arsenal definitely getting to the final. Tough game for Chelsea, PSG. Well, not for you, Sam. You think PSG, Chelsea would go through against them? Do you think?
I think Chelsea will beat PSG
over 2 legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Liverpool, Galatasaray. I fancy Liverpool to go through that tie comfortably. And then Manchester City, like Crookie says.
I do think that's one of the toughest ties, though, Chelsea-PSG. That's difficult to call. Like Real Madrid, Manchester City is. I think Manchester City will win that, if I'm completely
I wonder how City fans will feel about this, because they've played Real Madrid an awful lot, haven't they, in recent seasons. It's just familiarity breed contempt when it comes to those 2 clubs.
I do think that happens, sometimes when you have those big matchups that happen such a lot, there's a little bit of psychological damage that has been left by
Courtois said it, didn't he, after the game? We will get Manchester City on Friday. We know it already.
And there it is.
And there it is on paper. And then they will play the winners of Atalanta against Bayern Munich. Your old mate Ivan Juric was in charge of Atalanta for the first few weeks of the season. He got fired after 11 games.
I can't believe that, did he?
And they brought in Raffaele Balladino, and things have changed dramatically. They were 2-0 down from the first leg of their game against Borussia Dortmund, and they won that match and have qualified to play Bayern Munich in the next round of the competition. Bayern came through a very strong set of fixtures, actually, in the league phase. Mentioned it a little bit earlier. They only lost once, and that was at Arsenal. Davis and Musiala have been out long term, but they do have Harry Kane. Defence is good against the weaker teams, but when posed with real class, they do give up a lot of chances.
Am I right in thinking also, because Arsenal won the league phase, they're going to get the home leg at home every round?
They get the home leg all the way to the semi-final.
So they're in the best half of the draw, and they're at home in the second leg all the way.
Yeah.
There's no excuses, is there? For me.
And listen, they'll probably end up with a trip to Lisbon or a trip to Norway should they get past Leverkusen. Listen, there's no guarantees that they get past Leverkusen, but they'll be big favourites for that.
Oh, massive favourites. I mean, Leverkusen, like we says, haven't been at their best this season, especially since Alonso left last season. Bodo Glimt, it wouldn't surprise me if they get through against Sporting. You know, what they've done in the Champions League this season. Imagine that, quarter-final, Arsenal versus Bodo Glimt. Do you know what I mean? And now with the odds shortened on Arsenal.
Arsenal have been there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal actually went up there and won in the Europa League not so long ago, to be honest.
Conor Gallagher as well, going back to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, really enjoy that.
Yep.
Yeah, and Newcastle against Barcelona. What a tie that is. It's got echoes of Sir Bobby Robson.
Zeno Espria.
Obviously, they played each other once already this season. That didn't go Newcastle's way, but there were signs in that game, weren't there, that they could compete. Anthony Gordon got a late goal in that match. There was only 2 moments of Rashford brilliance, actually.
And do you know what? Do you know what Newcastle need to do? What they've been doing recently with Gordon, with Barnes, with Alanga, with Willock, with Ramsey. Quick players, runners in behind, because there's one team that you want to have quick players against is Barcelona, and they will get so many chances against this Barcelona defence. They are woeful.
First leg's at home, isn't it? You probably fancy they need a 2-goal advantage to take to the Camp Nou.
And you know what? Previous seasons, Crooked, I'd say that, but this Barcelona side, like Sam says, they can be absolutely unbelievable or so poor. I watched the game against Atletico Madrid. Honestly, mate, it was 7 or 8 times in the first half, running through 1v1.
One of the things that really helps Newcastle here, and listen, they're not the best counter-attacking team, even though they are a counter-attacking team, actually, is that Barcelona play with this ridiculously high line, which teams with raw speed can expose.
Sam, it's crazy. It's literally like, just stay in your own half and just make the run. Do you know what I mean? Make sure you're onside. If you're talking to Alanga, if you're talking to Gordon...
And he's not going to give that up, Hansi Flick. He is a system coach. He's like, I'm wedded to this.
If you're Eddie Howe, you're saying, listen, guys, do not be offside. Give yourself 5 yards if you have to. You're that quick, Gordon. You're that quick, Alanga. You're going to get in behind, then make the right pass. So is this a sort of game where you don't play Voltemada and you just play your quick players?
Yeah, you play Murphy, you play Barnes, and you play Gordon, or you play Alanga instead of Murphy. But I would go Murphy, Gordon, Barnes every day of the week.
100%. So Newcastle will respect Barcelona, but I don't think they'll be afraid.
Get your reaction to the draw. 03717 2233 44. Arsenal fans, have you got the best possible outcome that you could have envisaged this morning? Manchester City fans, what do you feel about going and playing Real Madrid again? Liverpool fans, off to Turkey for their game against Galatasaray. I want to hear from you. 03717 2233 44. And Spurs fans, no one's really giving you a chance. What was it that Crookmeister said earlier on? We've got 6 teams in the Champions League. And Tottenham, they take on Atletico Madrid, who wildly fluctuate between looking like the best team that Simeone has ever constructed and the worst. They do have Julian Alvarez, a real danger, even though he's advancing in years. Antoine Griezmann is playing well as well. 03717 2233 44. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Move on.
A new word that you use, Sam.
Did I not say fluctuate properly?
No, you missed the letter. Yeah. I was thinking, oh, that's not what you use, Sam.
Did I? I apologise for that. It's only a
Shocking.
slight infraction, but of course, Crookmeister would pick it up, wouldn't he? You know, because he's got his ear to the ground on absolutely everything. Arsenal fans, is there no excuses for not getting to the final? 03717 2233 44 81089 on the text. We'd love to hear from you. Who wins it now then, Crook?
Arsenal.
Who wins it now, Gabby?
Arsenal.
English arrogance.
I'm about to faint. I'm about to faint. I can't believe I said it.